I'm not sure, but we're gonna dive into the Hytale situation, see what's going on, see if we can, you know, I've also got a few other clips here. But yeah, I wanted to start with, okay, I think Chippy did one video. Yeah, I think we'll go to Phoenix. We'll start with Chippy's video. Let's see what is talked about. Let's pause this music.
Bit of a weird news video today. It almost feels like the ending of an era, and that's because for the past 6 years, I've been making occasional news videos about the game Hytale. In fact, only 6 months ago, I made this video, which has aged very poorly. Today, though, it brings me great sadness to say that it's been confirmed that Hytale has been officially cancelled. On Twitter, the CEO of Hypixel Studios, Noxy, wrote, "Today I shared some incredibly tough news with the Hypixel Studios team. We're ending development on Hytale and beginning the process of winding down Hypixel Studios over the next few months. This is not the outcome any of us at Hypixel or at Riot wanted, but after years of pushing forward, adapting and exploring every possible path, it became clear we couldn't bring Hytale to life in a way that truly delivered on its promise."
Yeah, so they just didn't do anything with it, essentially. They just kept making more and more promises and more, and then they couldn't keep up their words, so they decided to back out. Is basically what I'm hearing.
Brutally hard, especially when you're trying to build something original that speaks to a creative, passionate community. Over time,
and the game wasn't original to begin with, it was already just looking like a fucking Cube World knockoff.
As our vision evolved and the genre matured around us, the bar kept rising. Our technical ambitions grew more complex, and even after a major reboot of the game engine, the team found that Hytale still wasn't as far along as it needed to be. It became clear we need a lot more time to get it to a place where it could support the ambitious vision for the game. We looked at reducing scope, adjusting timelines, and finding new angles to keep moving forward, but each of these options would have meant compromising on what made Hytale special.
I'm just gonna highlight
in the first
this
place.
as well.
It wouldn't have been the game we set out to make, and it wouldn't have been the game you deserve. We're also deeply grateful to Riot, not just for the years of support and the opportunities they gave us, but for the care they've showed our team during this transition. They supported us in going out into the world to see if there were any investors or acquirers who could continue to help carry Hytale forward, and now as we begin winding things down, they're ensuring our team is supported with generous severance and resources to help find what's next. Now, they also go on to thank the community as well. Now, first off, let me say my heart goes out to everybody that's still currently working on Hytale. That post, of course, mentions severance, but it doesn't talk about the fact that maybe people relocated for this job. And just like that, hours before we've all heard they're now unemployed, it's awful. Gut reaction, this is a bit of a blow, honestly. A real blow. And weirdly, a bit of an anomaly. I don't think there's been many games that have shared the same path as Hytale. To have this big, explosive virality that came with the trailer, dropping at the perfect time where Minecraft's community were at their lowest just before the big Minecraft resurgence, it really felt like Hytale was primed to be the next big thing. The next
exact
big
same as
hit
Cube
in the
World.
Minecraft genre space. But I think what's happened, even with that initial spark, Hytale just missed the boat. Like, they really missed the boat. Like in 2015, when the game began development, I can imagine they were thinking, okay, this is going to be a Minecraft-like with modding support straight out the gate. We're going to bring all that cool server stuff that we do on Hypixel over. And they were probably thinking, oh, we'll drop it on PC. We'll maybe have somebody port it to console or maybe mobile later. But my own personal theory is because they missed that initial window to drop at a time where that would have made a lot of sense. We firmly entered the era with cross-play, cross-platform, cross-progression. Fortnite's booked a musician. They're doing a live gig. Don't worry, all platforms get the update on the same day. You could be watching on PlayStation. Your friend is on Xbox. I should say, even though I'm bringing this up in a video about Hytale being cancelled, I'm not saying any of that is bad, but I do think that's what Hytale were hopefully trying to pivot towards. I
definitely think this is a very big factor. I think they had the good base game sorted. They had everything they need sorted, and then they had to redo the fucking engine because what they wanted to do was they wanted to enable crossplay, and they wanted to probably make it so, like, you know, you could play on anything, because they wanted to try to get all members of the Minecraft community, whether you're a Bedrock player, a console player, or a Java player. And by doing so, yes, they probably got a bit greedy in it when they should have just released the base game and worked on that in the future, but they didn't do that. They probably decided to pivot to this new method because they were like, oh, well, there's no point building this and then adding this in later when we can just build it up from scratch and capitalize on it. So once again, it's most likely developer and or corporate grade that ruined this game. It was owned by Riot. Riot was funding it. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was corporate greed that shut it down, and Riot breathing down their necks, being like, hey, what's going on? Where's the money? Haven't you made any money from this yet? Like, we've poured a lot of fucking time into this. What's going on? We make more money off League every day than you've made for us in 9 years. Like, and Riot was probably like, yep, all right, that's enough. Enough is enough. Because we haven't heard anything about Riot's point from this. And that's what I want to hear about. Because I guarantee you this wasn't a decision by the devs or by the CEO. I guarantee you this was a decision from much higher up.
They spent all of that time and all of that money rebuilding the engine so that they could hopefully launch in a state like that. And then that would give it the cutting edge against Minecraft, because even right now, even with Bedrock being so popular and all of those microtransactions being there, the community isn't fully synced up. You still have Java, and then you have Bedrock, and then...
But I think by focusing on that, you've now pushed all the communities away. You've burnt those bridges.
Don't get updates on the same day, and it's not like the same game. But I think that's what Hytale ultimately wanted to be. I think it wanted to be like the live service Minecraft. Hindsight is 2020. I think that was the wrong direction for the game, if I'm being honest. I kind of felt like this years ago. I felt like they should have released small and then built up a community, built up updates.
You know, like most
ago,
games.
I did see people speculate that the budget was fast approaching 100 million, so I did imagine something drastic happening eventually, but cancelled outright. Yeah, I did not expect this. But yeah,
you know who did expect this?
Hytale has been officially cancelled.
Do you know who did expect this? Which is crazy, because this is from 4 weeks ago. This is from the 29th of May. And you know who did predict it? You all sound like classic WoW players, classic Andys being like, you gotta do it this way, you gotta do it that way. You should just take a break until 1.2 comes out. I was thinking about it, but the issue is, them doing this big of a jump in versions is going to cause massive issues. I've been reading the dev blogs, and I think they're fucking stupid. I'm not gonna lie. I think they're idiots. Because of how the jump from 1.8.9 to 1.20, there's going to be so many issues that they're going to have. There's going to be so much more server-side issues. Like, if you think the server's not, like, if you think the server is struggling at the moment, it is going to be unplayable. Completely unplayable. And what do you think is going to happen in those 1 to 2 months? Do you think people are going to keep buying those fire sales they're pumping out every 2 weeks? They're not. Why do you think they keep having the fire sales? They're running out of money. Riot Games is breathing down their neck, and they don't know what the fuck to do, rather than keep draining the community. And that's not even getting me started on the dungeon sweats, trying to micromanage every... Interesting. This guy, he seems to be speaking some facts. It's almost like he knows a thing or two about what's happening in game development and with development in general and coding. Like... You can see, like, I've got the fuck. I pulled. That's crazy, which probably isn't too fair. But it's like online now. You got 42,000, right? That's like this. That's like peak weekday. I think here I just talk about other viewership with that stuff. But my point being that this is 1 out of 3 predictions done. Next one is they're going to move to a subscription only model if you want to play, and then the third is that it's going to die.
That post did mention shopping about for different investors to keep the project alive. Unfortunately,
yes, so they apparently have got another investor, and the investor is from a game called Vintage Story. And while Vintage Story is a lot of fun and looks really nice, I actually have bought the game. I didn't get to play it despite buying it because they said they couldn't find my email address connected to the account, and I was like, likely fucking story, boys. It's the same one as my PayPal, but anyway, So yeah, I'm interested to see what that's about because we've still got a little bit more to go.
It hasn't happened, and I don't think it's going to happen. And now that the project is officially over, it's all going to be one big deduction. So I don't think we'll ever see this project revitalized again. I'll just say I always found the
not in this
Hytale
capacity
team to be extremely nice and very engaging and like a real good group of people. So I'm gutted on their behalf as well. I was always a Hytale believer. I still am. I mean, it's not coming, but...
And the reason why I was rewatching myself is because I love being right. I love being right. As simple as that. Now, we've got, apparently, Hytale is back and there's hope for Hytale. We'll start with Hytale is back. And I'm going to really debunk this. Because I've got a feeling that Hytale may come back and it's going to be in a completely different capacity. People are going to be expecting what they saw when they seen the original trailers and all this other stuff. And it's going to be a very different game to what they're expecting. And I think it's going to end badly. But we can find out what's happening. We're going to watch these two videos. Also, sorry, that first video, that was by Chippy Gaming. Make sure you go give them a like and a follow. Even though I would say it was just them reading off the tweet. Just still though. I knew about the tweet already, but I didn't really care. But yeah, just to clarify, this doesn't affect the Hypixel server on Minecraft. So, my main point of this that I wanted to bring up, because everyone keeps saying this, right? It doesn't affect the Hypixel server. They're two different entities, right? They may be two different entities, but it's still brand recognition. The fact that a game that's named Hytale after Hypixel, it was called Hypixel Studios, even though they're separate entities that may have run off separate funding, that's going to cause backlash for Hypixel. That's still bad for the brand. Because as everyone's been saying, this game took them 9 years to deliver absolutely nothing. How long is foraging taken? How long is the next update going to take? When are they going to fix the servers? When are they going to do all the things they've been talking about? Because now I'm seeing a trend of Hypixel staff and from both parties, and not being able to either listen to the community or just ignoring the community. Because one, if they had listened to the community and released Hytale in like different batches, it would have probably been way more popular than Minecraft by now. Not even gonna lie, it would probably be more popular than Minecraft. No, you're sweet. But yeah, I don't know. It won't, of course, it won't affect like the major players on the server, but I bet that Hytale was sort of like they were sort of hoping that Hytale would come out and that could sort of take away some of the costs from the server, and help sort of like alleviate some of those things, as well as sort of take some of the players away and moving them over to Hytale, making the whole Hypixel server run a lot smoother. But they have not. And yeah, I'll go into this more. I want to watch a few more of these other videos first. So this one is by Hytale News. I'll subscribe because I like the idea of Hytale. I love the idea of Hytale. I'm not a fan of the
Well,
devs.
it's been a rough past couple days, to say the least, following the announcement of Hytale's cancellation. Hytale's Google trend spiked to 75% of its all-time peak, showing just how powerful the movement behind Hytale truly is. And this is even further shown by what we saw on Twitter these past couple days. Massive influencers stunned by the announcement, hashtag Save Hytale tweets running rampant, open source, dev arguments. The displacement of Hytale's closure has caused a monumental uprising. That leads to the ominous question.
I will say the exact same thing happened with Cube World 10 years back. Like, I shit you not, when like Cube World had the pretty much like, just like it was constantly in development. Yeah, it was in a state of development limbo. I hate using these AI overviews, but sometimes it is easier. It didn't have all the stuff on its initial release. The founder like disappeared and then came back, and then like Wicked Wiz has been talking about this. And that's that's where I was watching. But yeah, it basically was missing, and this is somebody that played the alpha of Cube World, and I don't know, I just see a trend with these sort of games. It's like they all try to get too big for what they're trying to do, and then it ends up biting them in the ass and costing them the whole fucking game. Because this is now Hytale, which I'm not saying it's the exact same as Cube World, But I'm definitely saying that like you can see the similarities. And Cube World was all the way back in 2011. Like it's just it's a cutie little voxel based game, MMORPG game. But yeah, then some stuff happened with the dev. I believe he wasn't too well or something to do with, and then the development on the game just started to get a bit like up and down, and yeah, it basically just there's no connection whatsoever. There's no connection. I just want to make that clear. It's just me pointing out the trend of the voxel games voxel sandbox MMO games trying to copy Minecraft, over promising and then not being able to deliver.
Is Hytale truly gone? Well,
Yes.
just when we thought Hytale was completely done for, Simon shares a super interesting tweet about the thought process of purchasing Hytale back. This stemmed from
Wait,
a conversation
what?
between him and Tubbo, where Tubbo jokingly tweets about bullying him into buying the game back. Now, we know Riot was trying to find investors before Hytale had
No.
to announce that they were shutting down, so we know they were trying to sell it. Well,
Yeah,
Riot
'cause
might have
Riot
just found their investor.
Was losing
Over
money
on
on
Twitter,
it. Like
Simon
fucking
responds to
dumpster
Tubbo,
fire.
I get it, 100%. Look, I'm even down to put $25 million by myself to finish Hytale. That's how much I believe in it. He goes on to say, no Kickstarter, just raw passion, high pressure and high risk taking. Reduce scope, legacy engine, PC only first, open source some parts,
Okay.
a small team, cut unfinished.
This could work. This could work. I still say I would do the Kickstarter because I'm worried about again how this will affect the development of Hypixel and whatnot. But I still think that this could work very well, and this is what they should have done from the start. Legacy engine, PC only first to appease the main player base, and then like just yeah, I feel like they should have done this in batches, and then followed how Skyblock's success worked in terms of how they did the releases and how they did each patch. But they didn't do that. They just kept saying, no, wait another year. It'll come out next year. It'll come out next year, guys. So now it's at the point where it's like, even if Simon bought it back, how much faith are you going to put in a company that's taken 9 years to give you nothing?
Finished features to accelerate towards beta.
And I don't blame Riot whatsoever for wanting to sell another loss leader. Like Riot Games is their cash cow. I mean, Valorant and League of Legends are their two cash cows. They make bank off all the gambling in that. Like, they don't need like this other game company to be consistently losing the money. So I'm not surprised that they were trying to sell it. And like I said a month ago, I already thought they were trying to sell it. Like, I've got the clips from my stream of me talking about how I thought they were going to sell. Or how they were trying to get rid of it because it was losing money and hadn't put anything out yet.
Get players in ASAP to support development. I even already have a dozen of Hytale Legacy Engine veterans working with me. That's what I would do, but I have not reached out. I'm just thinking about it now because of the bullying. This would be a massive challenge and impact all aspects of my life, so I would probably need to consult with my family.
I would honestly, as someone that's worked like on Minecraft servers for however many years now, as somebody that understands a lot of what players want, like, I would love to work on Hytale. Like, I would love the opportunity to. It depends on what engine they use, I guess, but even if I was working on a more, like, helping out with the community and or doing, like, quest and storyline shit, I would love to fucking do something to do with it. But, like, again, I wouldn't want to be putting in my time and effort into something that's just going to get put in the trash. Like, that's a big thing for me, is I hate wasting time. I'm not a fan of of any sort of time wasting whatsoever. So to me, putting work into something that could potentially just and it doesn't even get released is not exactly the most ideal thing to me. That was a little side note. I've wanted to like help out the Hypixel team for like fucking quite a few years now. Like, I used to fucking help them out a little bit back in the day, like give them like lots of feedback about the different game modes because I'd be playing non-fucking stop, and they'd make a few changes and whatnot. But it was never anything like full on or anything like that. But that was back when Hypixel was like a small community, you know. It was early days, first few weeks, first few months of the server. Then I sort of went back to factions. Anyway,
first.
back to
I think the
Hytale.
idea of open sourcing parts of the project and rallying the original team of veterans only deepens the excitement for me, especially considering we found out these past few days the legacy engine was 100% ready to be shipped, and everything in the trailer was in-game footage and full fleshed out mechanics. In fact, everything we've ever seen from Hytale's legacy engine is completely fleshed out, being inside the game. To me, this seems all very promising. A potential Hytale revival fueled by Simon's original passion rather than all the corporate constraints.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
That's
Are
exactly
you behind
what
Simon's?
That's exactly what happened. Riot fucked them. I wasn't streaming or making content at the time, but the moment I found out Riot had bought Hytale, I knew it was over for Hytale. At the end of the day, Riot cares about money. They're owned by Tencent. If it's not making money, it's useless to them. And they thought Hytale, because they saw Minecraft's success, they thought Hytale would be their way to break into that community. Because this community, the Minecraft community, is so fucking different to the League community. You've got a few crossovers, like myself, and I'm sure there's a few viewers of mine. But altogether, most League of Legends players would never touch Minecraft. And most Minecraft players would never touch League of Legends because they don't cross over in any way, shape, or form unless you're playing game modes that are similar to League, you're playing anyway. But yeah. PvP-based game modes and then stuff like that, then you may find more interest in League. But yeah, someone that's sort of played League, I sort of had a feeling this was going to happen with Riot. The moment they bought it, if they didn't release something soon, then it was going to cause issues. And I guarantee you, they kept digging further and further into the budget, and so Riot was wanting more and more back, which means they were having to try to have more and more, try to get more and more sales on delivery. Hence why they were trying to go multi-platform and cross-platform, as opposed to just sticking to the PC only.
Decision to buy back Hytale and bring it back to its original idea? Let's continue the momentum over on Twitter. We as a community must continue the fuel that keeps the spark of Hytale alive. And that wraps up today's video talking about the exciting news Simon shared.
Yeah, that was the video about Hytale news. I didn't actually know Simon had tweeted about it. I had a feeling Simon would have tweeted about it, but I didn't actually check. Yep. The opening ton, but yeah, I don't want to work on Skyblock. It might be in his replies. Yep, no, here we are. No, yeah, alright. Yeah, massive undertaking, trying to take responsibility. Oh, okay, yeah, true. And it's not like Riot Games, it's just going to, give it back to him. Riot doesn't work like that. I would know. I'm addicted to this fucking shit. Riot would not give him just give him the money back either. That's just not how Riot works. So that video, yep, that was another video just to do with the Hytale situation. Make sure you go check it out. I did have, I think, one more. No, this one goes for 10 minutes, which I don't understand how it could, because it's just, there's only one set of tweets. Bro does a better job of me in slop tubing, unless he just goes into detail about, oh no, here we go.
Starting to arrive.
This is where I had the vintage story.
What is going on? It's Big Dude. Guys, we have some big news. Revival is in the air.
Yeah.
Okay? Revival is in the air. Hope is starting to arise again.
This is vintage story, by the way.
We've got two really big things to talk about and cover here. There's not going to be a whole lot of fancy editing going on here. I'm pretty much just going to share my screen and get this information out to you, because this is just really big what's going on here. So
sorry, I'm going to pause that. But yeah, this is vintage story. I do actually remember buying this. One of my friends told me to buy this. But yeah, you can see the similarities. You know what I mean? It seems like it's a bit more rough around the edges and a bit more realistic, I say, as it goes and does some weird demonic stuff. But you can see the similarities already. And this is back from 2022. It almost makes me think that some of the devs from the original Hytale game went and made this. But they've got the Eldritch Horror themes and whatnot, so I could see how these guys buying Hytale would be good. if that does come to fruition, like Vintage Story, I think the ultimate end goal for Hytale and anyone that actually wants the game to come to fruition would be Vintage Story and Simon teaming up together to release the Hytale, like the original game engine for Hytale and what they had planned for that. Before they try to do anything else, they work on that, they optimize that, and they go from there. And then once they've done that, then they can start looking at what they were maybe exploring in the other stuff.
Originally, I was about to make this video about this post right here by Tyron. Tyron used to be a developer on Hytale back in the day.
Oh, I was right.
And created what you all know as Vintage Story.
Oh, no. I was right. Oh, no. And thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Pozo Dojo. What a great name. But yeah.
Okay, now he basically made this incredible post that I was already super excited about, and then something else super exciting happened. So before I get to that, I want to read you this and share what's going on this side of things. Dear Hytale community, as many of you might have read by now, Hytale has been officially canceled. Our heartfelt compassion goes out to those that were looking forward to its release, and as well to all of the developers working at Hypixel Studios.
Okay.
As a former Hytale developer myself, allow me to openly invite everyone left unsatisfied by this news to try out Vintage Story. While it might not be the exact same experience you would have hoped, do keep in mind that our game allows a great...
Again, this is all just a lot of promises. Keep in mind, like, don't get your hopes up about any of this until an official statement has been released. Hytale is cancelled. There's like, all this is right now is people speculating and clinging on to little things. But as it stands right now, Hytale is cancelled. And if you want to play something like Hytale, go play Vintage Story. That's essentially it.
Great range of customization options to reduce some of the more difficult settings that Vintage Story ships by default. In fact, if you are one of the former developers, here's where it gets hype, or a highly passionate Hytale fan with extensive modding skills, do write us at jobs@vintagestory.at. So if that's you right now, go do that. Go do that. Perhaps we can put together a small sub-project within our team of developers to bring out an additional game mode for Vintage Story that can at least in part deliver on the vision of what Hytale set out to become. I could picture this as a mostly independent work group developing a new playstyle or an external team that uses our extensive modding API with funding from us. Basically saying, either make this sub-game mode with the Hytale developers to basically bring Hytale through Vintage Story, or he's basically just saying, I will give you our engine, you create Hytale with this, and I'll fund you. I mean, this is awesome. And he even said, we've already received over 20 applications, including several high-profile ones. This seems to look promising to me. We'll collect more applications for another week and then begin processing them. For all applicants, please stay tuned. Cheers, Tyron. Okay, this is already massive news, right? Right here, we're looking at two options. Either we get a kind of combination of Vintage Story and Hytale with this sub-game, right, that's built within it, or developing a whole new game with the same engine as Vintage Story made by Hytale developers. Basically, Hytale 2 built with the engine of Vintage Story.
I think it's going to be a bit of both.
Huge, okay? And I was already like, I got to rush, I got to make this video, I got to talk about this. And then another bomb comes in.
Is this going to be the Simon
one?
We
get a tweet from Simon.
Yeah.
If you don't know Simon, he is the CEO of Hypixel, and you just got to check this out. So it starts out with a post from Owl. It says, "Hi Simon, I think I speak for the entire Hytale community when I say that Hytale can't be canceled. It was a game with infinite potential, agree? Wouldn't there be any possibility that together with Riot, you could partner with the former team to revive the legacy engine?" Simon replies, "I have not seen the game since 2019, so it would be hard for me to know if it's worth looking into it. It seems like the chapter is truly closed. I do have the money to run a 30-people team for a while, but they were over 150. So not sure what kind of beast it has become to handle now. Hugo chimes in. I think there is a very real opportunity here to look into buying back the IP if it's not crazy expensive, which I'm sure it is, and getting a couple of the OG developers back to get the real Hytale released. 30 people.
Like I said, Riot would have lost so much money on the Riot. No, that's the thing. Riot already wants to sell. That's why the development stopped. Riot doesn't want to keep funding it anymore because it's just losing them money. Which is like completely fair. It's been 9 years and they haven't delivered. Like as someone that would have invested into a game company, if I asked them, hey, what have you got after 9 years or however many years of like development and how many years of us giving you funding, what have you got to show for it? Nothing? All right, we're done. Cut the funding, boys. It's over. I'd do the exact same. What the fuck do you mean? What have you been doing for 9 years? Sitting on your fucking ass? Like, and just like every move they've made has been so anti-business. Like, because I guarantee you Riot would have been the ones telling them to release the game or release something, put something out. And I guarantee you it was the Hytale devs pushing back on it. Because Riot cares about money, so they would have been trying to get this out as fast as humanly possible.
Just like in 2015 to 2018, the original vision, the game it was meant to be.
Yeah, cutting Riot out is the problem. Did I just release a game then up? Yeah, exactly. But like they can't even do that right now because Riot would never let that happen because Riot's lost too much money on it. So they want to make sure they get their fucking dollars worth out of it first, which is why they're trying to sell the IP and why they'll never release it open source and it'll take somebody like to buy the IP back and to buy what they've developed back. But yeah, like I don't understand why if they had done that from the start, I guarantee you Hytale would probably be one of the biggest games right now. But they didn't do that. They moved so poorly with all their decision making in terms of the game.
Bam! Hugo, shout out to you. That is a fire response. 100% agree. Hashtag save Hytale. Simon chimes in. Yeah, well, would be a massive undertaking. Not sure I want to take that responsibility.
Would need to
open source some parts like the tools, etc. And anything that would
you would be
spent on
micromanaged by the community
the
too.
Funding of the game, so it's a bit difficult to deal with. Tubbo, make a Kickstarter right now. Tubbo, don't bully me into buying it. I'm living a good, peaceful life. And then he replies, all I'm saying is that this community is very, very passionate about this project. All right, now here is where the big response comes in. Simon says, I get it 100%. Look, I am even down to put 25 million USD by myself to finish Hytale. That's how much I believe in it. No Kickstarter, just raw passion, high pressure, and high risk taking. Reduce scope, legacy engine, PC only.
They need
first.
to reduce scope. That was their problem.
Preach, come on now. Open source some parts, small team, cut unfinished features to accelerate towards beta, get players in ASAP, love that, to support development. I even already have a dozen of Hytale legacy engine veterans working with me. That's what I would do. But I have not reached out.
I agree. Look what happened to Scott Cawthon when he voted for Trump. I have no idea who that is. I have zero clue who that is. Oh. Was there just like, did he say he voted for Trump? Then everyone was like, oh. Death threats and all, yeah. Oh, I imagine so. A lot of people are very intolerant. But yeah, I like as some if he's a family man who's like gotten into like relaxing and shit, he don't want to deal with like a community of fucking like that's constantly going to be breathing down his neck, being like, "Yo, where's the update? Where's the dev update? What's going on?" It's the same situation all over again. Meanwhile, he's stressing because he's put fucking like a bunch of his fucking money down on this project just as a passion project to deliver to the community. And gamers in the community don't recognize that shit. The majority of them don't. They won't care. All they care about is where is the game? I want to play Hytale. Current Dan TDM. Yeah, like, again, it's why people, like, if you aren't doing, like, political stuff, I don't think you should comment on politics, because you're just going to get a hate wave and you're going to split your community. Like, if you're not going to talk politics, then I don't think you should bring up your political opinions in your content as a creator. Like, as simple as that. Like, I think it's okay to, like, if you do, like, I don't know, like, it's different to saying who you voted for and, like, your political leanings, to, like, saying, like, oh, what's happening in, like, the Israel-Iran situation is bad. There's very different, two different types of politics, I'd say. One's geopolitics and the other one's more, I call it wig politics, because everyone wears those, I just imagine everyone wearing those fucking wigs. Anyway.
Just thinking about it now, because of the bullying, okay, this would be a massive...
Why did he laugh saying, okay? Like, this guy wouldn't be probably one of the people screaming on, like, where's the development? Where is it at? Like that, it's got privately donated, but people dug through his transactions. That's, okay, donating's a bit different. That's going a little bit further.
Massive challenge and impact all aspects of my life, so I would probably need to consult with my family first.
And he obviously didn't privately donate well enough.
Now listen, as much as I love Hytale and video games and everything like that, Simon, do what's best for you and your family. Like, I know I'm super hype, I'm really passionate. Do what's best for your family, man. If it's going to be something that causes turmoil in your family and a lot of stress and chaos, honestly, don't do it. And that's just because I think that is a lot more important than a video game. But if it at all aligns and your family is on board, Simon, this would be huge. Okay, this would be huge. LOL, we love you, Simon. Whatever you decide, I'm 100% sure the community would back you. But of course, family and life first. We're so back. Guys, revival is in the air. Right? We've got hashtag save Hytale, share this post, share this image, spread the word. Like, it seems like people are...
How many times have you seen hashtag save and then a game name? And how many times has that game actually been saved?
Just fighting for this game, and it's so awesome to see, and I am almost confident that in some way or another, whether it is through Vintage Story, open sourcing their engine and allowing Hytale devs to create in there, or with Simon,
that seems about right.
Refunding this and reviving this, there is going to be some way, shape, or form that we get Hytale. I don't think there's any way. I think the community is way too passionate, way too driven to see this game just go.
See, what's going to be the thing is, though, the having this attitude about it, that we will see Hytale in some capacity, it means that either one, the community is going to get to the point where it forces like a game dev to essentially make a Hytale like ripoff, or like force one of these developers that have now stated, they've openly stated it, like they have interest in the project, right? They're going to be harassing these people. And at the end of the day, Hytale is a massive project with a massive undertaking that's going to take a lot of fucking money. A lot of money. Because, like, not even thinking about the continued development that needs to be done, thinking about the hosting. It's not cheap to host a game server, like a live service game. And, like, I've never tried to host one. I've tried to host a Minecraft server, and that shit gets expensive quick. So trying to do that on the scale of an entire game, like, I know that you'd obviously have dedicated servers and all that and whatnot, but that still would not be cheap. I imagine the computing power for that would be quite expensive. So I don't know. I think some of these devs have jumped on this bandwagon, and not realized how much of an undertaking this actually would be. And there's a reason why Riot Games is cutting off Hytale Studios and why Hytale Studios was not able to deliver. I think a lot of people have just read this message and been like, okay, cool. But a whole lot of nothing was said in that tweet. Like, if we go back to it, a whole lot of nothing was said in that tweet. We're just gonna Hytale. They didn't actually state No, not that one. Okay, I can't find it now. I think Hypixel Studios, maybe? Yeah, here we go. So they didn't really actually say the reason why. Did you notice that? There was no reason. It was just, it's a painful decision. AKA, you guys, they weren't making money, and Riot was like, guys, come on. They said that their technological ambitions grew more complex, and like the team wasn't as far along as, so that basically, again, the investors found that it wasn't as far along as it needed to be, because the team wouldn't have cared. Need more time to get it where it could happen. So rather than, just releasing something or like having an initial player base, they decided to keep it all closed. And this definitely killed it. Each of these options would mean compromising. They did say a whole lot of nothing in this, to be honest. Like, they said basically, we kept over promising and we weren't able to deliver, is what I'm getting from this. But that doesn't say why, or like what actually was going on behind the scenes, what actually made it so they stopped. Like, I don't, elaborate corporate deflection, always. That's like, it's 100% a Riot Games like decision, and it's 100% Riot breathing down their neck. Because otherwise, the simple as this, the outcome would not have happened. They could have, downsized. There are a lot of different options they could have taken. They could have downsized. They could have released, released fucking something. That would have actually helped if they had released literally anything other than a few gameplay trailers. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever see Hytale in the capacity that everybody expects. I think that everybody as well has got too many different images and sort of ideas about how Hytale is going to run in their head and how Hytale is going to play in their head. And it's going to be completely different than what anybody is expecting. And I'm worried that that'll turn people away. Because it's gone through this long of a development process. So many things have changed over the entire situation. I don't think we'll ever see Hytale in the capacity that it was intended to be at. LTT Twitch situation? No, I have no idea. I have no idea what that is. Oh, and then someone posted, could Hytale be saved for 25 million? I honestly, like, again, it's a lot of, yeah, here we go, the real reason. Yeah, it's 100% Riot Games.
Hello, I'm Hypixel.
LTT Twitch situation. I should probably have a look. Management.
This is something that you could apply to the management team at Hypixel.
I'll have a look into it after this.
Someone at Riot was still writing the checks until very recently.
Yes.
So what changed there? Because as much as you can blame management for blowing a bunch of money or
I knew he got banned, yeah.
Ultimately, whose money were they blowing? We know it's not their own from selling the game because, well,
there's no game sales.
They made a bit of money from merch, but they weren't getting a giant bank loan because what bank is going to lend to a company that's 100 million in the red? We know that the money was coming from Riot Games, and Riot Games were happy to continuously give them more, even as they asked for 40 million a year, which means whatever assurances and whatever timelines they were giving Riot were either kept to, or at least kept to enough that they were happy to continue doing this until they weren't. What changed? Well, I think it's likely that Riot Games took a step back and ultimately saw the biggest problem with Hypixel Studios and the Hytale development, which was not necessarily the fact that they were making a game that was getting any worse. I'm sure the game they were developing was getting better and better, but the actual asset that underwrote the entire brand, the reason that they were happy to invest in the first place was that community hype. And as we can see from this post right here, if we look at the Google Trends, which usually sucks as a way to measure the popularity of a game, but when there is no game to play, this is actually a decent indication.
It's the only
people are
indicator.
Curious about Hytale. Obviously,
there is no other indicator you can rely on. That's the thing. Like, you have to use Google Trends because, one, Google is connected to everything. They fucking, they're going to know what trends are what compared to what trends are what compared to pretty much anything else. If the game isn't out, you can't use Steam database because there's no fucking database of players. There's nobody playing it. So Google Trends is the only way to actually analyze whether there is still people interested in the game. And if you're looking at that, as a developer that's throwing 40 million a year at a game dev company, trust me, you're looking at that timeline and you're like, damn, that is a big fall off. That is a big fall off. That is under half of the 25 until it was announced that it was, stopping. So obviously,
after the trailer, you
pretty
expect
obvious
that
what
some
happens.
number of people watch the trailer and then forget about the game. But what you don't expect is that after about 3 years and this big wave of hype as they make more announcements, for those peaks to get smaller and smaller and smaller as every successive announcement starts to sound more like, I swear the game is coming out soon, guys. You just trust us. Give us a little bit more time. And over a period of 7 years, the big asset that made the game so investable, the reputation, started to diminish more and more. There was the blog where you could keep up with it, but obviously this wasn't going to get anywhere nearly as much attention as the base game did, and I think that, the fact that the game had a huge community was a huge boost. There are multiple podcasts, by the way. There's multiple YouTube channels as well. One of the most famous is Quebec Corner, and if we look at Quebec Corner, you can see that even in his YouTube views, the community for the game on YouTube was dying out too.
What about
views go down and down and down, with the only increase being the Hytale is dead announcement. The biggest thing that Hytale has done in years is
yeah, the biggest thing Hytale has done in years is announce that they were canceling the game. Okay, wait, hold on. I just want to say this now. I could be completely wrong about everything, and this is just a stunt to get people interested in the game. I just want to say it now. This would probably be the best marketing stunt ever pulled by a game ever, if it's true. That's why I don't think it is. But if it was, like, they knew that the game had died off in popularity, so they were like, okay, we're going to say that the game's cancelled, right? And then, bam, we're going to say that it's back. We're going to drop the game. What do you reckon the chances are of that happening? 0 to none? But yeah, so far, the biggest thing Hytale's done is announce that they've done nothing. Congratulations, guys.
Announced that they've stopped developing it, and that is an absolute tragedy.
Red Rider Drum Band SB, specifically because I was going to discuss what I think is the implications of Skyblock and what's going to happen to it because of this. Because they did say in the tweet, like, this will not affect the Hypixel server on Minecraft. There are other factors where it can affect it that I want to sort of dive into. After that, I'm adding them back, though, because I don't want to fucking deal with that.
If you think you have this ultimate product, even if you think that everyone cares so much about it, I think consumers are ultimately fickle. My own interaction with the subscribers from this channel has been many people saying, sorry, wait, what is Hytale? Could you go back a bit and explain that to me? Why does everyone care about this so much? And the fact that so many people have to ask why and what means that there is a time that you have to actually deliver something. And I think that if we really take all of these things combined, you can see that ultimately, like I've said many a time before, the easiest thing to do is to overpromise and underdeliver. The more you say you're going to do, the harder it is to do all of those things. But equally,
number one rule
people actually want you to do is to deliver something. And sure, if they had delivered in 2022, it wouldn't have been cross-platform. They would have had to rewrite the engine, and maybe people would have mocked it for not being anywhere nearly as good as it was before, but they would have had a product that they could have iterated on and actually improved. They would have had an actual, launch this moment.
Something.
They'd have
anything.
They'd have something for people to actually be able to look at.
Anything.
And they would have a source of revenue
other than trailers
coming in exchange for that. But instead, by scrapping it and deciding that they wanted to do big, or they weren't going to do anything at all, they've ultimately done nothing at all. And I think what makes this extra tragic is not the fact that it's a lot of money. It's Riot Games money, which comes from Tencent. It's Chinese investors' money ultimately, and their fault for putting it inside of a studio that weren't going to deliver a game without spending literally $100 million. Ultimately, I don't think that's the tragedy. I think the real tragedy comes partially to the community who had so much excitement for a Minecraft competitor that now will never who actually come into existence. But also the tragedy is for all of the employees. Many people were hired. The team is huge, and all of those people are going to be let go now. And that is why it's important. Even as someone who wants to make big, exciting, creative things, sometimes it's important to make something good now and make it better later, because if you wait to make it better, it might never actually come out. And for all the people working on the game, many of whom are greatly talented, if we are to believe the game directors and the CEOs, if we are to believe the management of the company, there are many talented people who lost their job because people kept wanting to make bigger and better and more expensive and crazier. And even though the Hytale that might have come out may have been bigger than GTA 5 and may have actually recouped some of that money, ultimately they had a decision to make. And even though they didn't know it at the time, they made the wrong decision. Sure, they might have looked back on a game that that didn't have cross-platform play, that was slightly harder to update, etc., but they would have released it when people were ready to receive it. Think about 2021, how many more people were playing games. Think about how much closer they were to the trailer. A bad video game can be made. Funnily enough, the slogan used to be a game can only be late early on, and then it can be great forever. But a bad game is bad forever. But nowadays, the philosophy has shifted. With the regularity of updates, you could actually release a bad video game and expect that it will be good,
Cyberpunk,
rather
No
than
Man's
hoping
Sky.
to release a good video game and releasing nothing, which is exactly what has happened with Hytale.
Yep.
Truly a tragedy for everyone involved. I hope they can find work, and I hope that despite the critique of this project, everyone understands that there must be a bunch of talented people. I hope they all get on their feet, and indeed, I hope that we see something emerge from these ashes. I think the most likely thing is probably Reforge, actually, which seems to be taking all of the lessons from Hytale before it's even gone wrong. They have released a very early public build. They are actually iterating with public feedback, and it's not great right now. It's not a Minecraft alternative right now, but clearly it's going in the right direction, and so I have my excitement for that. But what do you think, Internet? I'd love to know your thoughts down below. That's just the generic way people end the video. You know, I don't need to know your thoughts, but I do need to know what you think about that number, because as far as I can tell, we are the first place on the internet to report it. Absolutely staggering to think about how much money has been blown on nothing.
Yeah, it is staggering to think about how much money has been blown on absolutely nothing. So yeah, check it out later. Is this the Linus Tech Tips one? No, this is okay. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers the main. That covers all the main essential details of it. Oh, fuck yeah.
Hello, I'm UpYax.
So make sure you go follow and subscribe, like this guy's video, by the way. Because yeah, all I can do is speculate about what's going to happen next, because it's not like we have any evidence. We haven't got anything from any of the other teams or from anyone that's like connected in any official capacity, other than, you know, we overpromised and couldn't deliver. But as well as that, it isn't going to affect the Hypixel server. I do think that while this will not directly affect the Hypixel server, it may potentially indirectly affect it in the future. If Hypixel gets to a point where it needs more money because it's running out, because look at the fire sales, look at the subscription model. Like, it's pretty obvious that, you know, Hypixel has sort of been a bit scrambly for funding for the past few year or so. Because, like, Minecraft, I can't remember sorry, what I'm looking for. I don't want to use Google Trends, but I will. I know Minecraft is down, like, in pretty much all capacities, but that's what always happens. Minecraft, you know, it receives a bit of a boost. Like, look at this, dude. That's, yeah. This is only over something over a few hours, who cares? Let's go to Minecraft Case Simulator. What the? Let's just do worldwide. Past 5 years. So, yeah, we're not doing like, this is around when the Minecraft movie came out, I'm pretty sure. I think if we have a look, we'll find that the Minecraft movie released around that time. On God, the best case scenario is like the height where Microsoft supports that shit. No, because then they're in the exact same situation as they were with Riot. It's just a different, yeah. So that was around when the Minecraft movie came out. So this is when it was around the release, and yeah. So that makes sense. Minecraft being super popular. Its popularity started to die down now. Around here, keep in mind as well, this is over the past few years. This is the COVID boom. So this is around when Minecraft, I'd say, hit its, some of its most popular was, around when the COVID boom was happening and when people were, all over it was when it was most consistent. Only for Hypixel to serve, then have Riot, sort of. Yeah, but what's happening with the Hive? What's its player count? Yeah, I don't. Erase that shit from your memory. Okay. But yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure the Hive is dead. Jesus, man. Yeah, why have you not got an IP at the front and center of your website? Yeah, from financial constraints, I was back in the day. Oh, it was because, oh yeah, no, okay, yeah, Microsoft funded on Bedrock. You need to include that. Microsoft endorsed, yeah, because it's on Bedrock. Java edition's been shut down. Nobody gives a fuck about Bedrock, bro. Bedrock is literally it's Microsoft's cash cow. It's not Minecraft. It's Minecraft with a little asterisk, a little star at the end, because it's Minecraft, but you got to pay all these extra add-ons. It's Minecraft, but the asterisk is for corporate greed. That's Bedrock edition right there. You might as well call it Microsoft Craft at this point. But yeah, that's a completely different situation, and that's the only reason why it's up and running. But the difference is because it's on Bedrock. I don't think they would ever do that for Hypixel, because Hypixel is mainly Java. Imagine if they forced you to play Hypixel on Bedrock. How many players do you think they would lose? Because now it's Microsoft endorsed, but that means it's Bedrock enforced. There's a reason why the Hive isn't on Java. Because obviously, Microsoft doesn't make money from Java Edition. Microsoft makes zero money from fucking Java Edition, so why would they allow that to happen? They wouldn't. The only way that Hypixel would actually, they would have to move to a completely Bedrock edition of the game, and I don't think they'd ever do that, because that would kill off everybody who is currently modding on it, and anybody that uses the mod. That kills off their relationship with, from what I'm not sure if it kills off their relationship with Luna, because I'm not sure what how Luna actually inner workings of it. But yeah, the Hytale situation is crazy. So I think that I still think we'll be of the fundamental belief that Hypixel has got serious issues and they need to address said issues, and they have not done so. I think that until they do fix their server-side stuff, it doesn't matter what content they push. It's just going to keep going back to square one. And at the end of the day, as they keep updating more islands, the server's going to keep requiring more and more resources. And as it requires more and more resources, it's going to get more and more costly. And what's going to happen when it gets more and more costly? They're either going to change it to a subscription-only service, so you have to be a MVP++ or a subscriber in order to play Skyblock, or it's going to probably die. Or both of those things can happen at the same time. I think that's most likely what's going to happen in the future with Hypixel, unless we see another massive boom for Minecraft. But even if there is a massive boom for Minecraft, I know that there hasn't been for public servers. I know that Mr. Epic had to do some stuff with his public server recently, and there's a bunch of other public servers that have been struggling because of Minecraft traffic and people playing the game. So yeah. Yeah, that was the Hytale situation. Make sure you go subscribe and go like this video by BX Toycat. Anyway. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And yeah, I go live every day from 2 p.m. EST. Hopefully I'll catch you around sometime. Peace out.